We're live. It's Monday. It's 12:30, and it's time for Live and LinkedIn. And what we're trying to do in these shows is speak to people that are doing cool things on LinkedIn or using LinkedIn, and just helping other business owners, helping business owners do other things. And a lot of people say to me, in fact, I did a thing this morning, and I said, look, what's the most often question people ask me is, I don't know what to write. And when we start writing content, we're like, oh, I need to do this, we need to do that. We're on LinkedIn, we have to do this and that. And we don't. We need to tell a story. And today we're going to tell a story. And I'm going to bring in a storyteller called Karis Gill. So let's see, is she here? Hello, Karis, how are you?
Hello, I've been dancing along to your introduction. That was brilliant.
Don't you love that? That's my
here today.
That's my song.
Did you write it?
Yes.
No way.
And sang it as well.
Multi-talented. That's so impressive.
And that song is called Full Cup. All right.
Okay.
And so I call my business Full Cup Coaching. All right. And the little line underneath says, you get out what you put in, which is the chorus of my song.
That's amazing. Is it on Spotify?
No. But all of that was done years before I ever thought I'd be running my own business and running a live show. So
that's amazing. And it works so well as a theme tune, doesn't it?
And there's a story there as well, isn't there, Karis Gill?
Brilliant. Full circle. It all comes back to storytelling at the end.
It certainly does. Right. For those people that don't know who you are, tell us who you are, what you do, and where are you?
Well, I'm in my flat in Edinburgh. And what I do is I'm a storyteller. So I grew my company, which I started 9 years ago, to multiple six figures a year in sales using storytelling. And it happened from one accidental book I took out from the library. I used to live in the library because it was free. Do you know what I mean? You didn't have to pay, and it was like a nice heated space. So I took out this library book, and in it was about the neuroscience of storytelling. And I was about 2 years into what only could be described as at the time a failed business. And then within a year of reading that, deep diving into storytelling, we had a team of 13 people, had outgrown our third premises, and we were in this humongous warehouse in Edinburgh, and we had every opportunity that was coming our way, and it was all done through authentic storytelling. And that's now what I teach others, is how to use your story strategically to get the opportunities that you deserve.
Boom. Oh my God, this is brilliant. This is already turning into the best episode ever. First of all, you don't look old enough to be in business 13 years.
Well, I've been business 9 years.
Well, you still don't look old enough. You still don't look.
I'm 30. I do look a lot younger than my age.
We need to know your secret.
Proudly in my 30s.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. So, first of all, we want to know the title of this book, Karis Gill.
Yeah. So, which one? The
book that you took out of the library that started all of this.
Amazing. I've tried to find it. I have no idea which one it is. It was a psychology textbook. It had this white cover, and I took it out, and it was just a tiny section in it on the neuroscience of storytelling that just sparked an idea. And it was then going on to read a load of other stuff, which I realized how to use story. And I've gone back to the library. I've tried to find it. And I can't find it anywhere. I didn't even know when I read that thing how significant it would be. So I didn't make a mental note of the book.
That's hilarious. Well, look, we're going to see if we can track that book down. That would be brilliant. Awesome. Just quick shout out to people who are watching. Michal Dave always comes in and says hello. So hi, Michal, lovely to see you. So that's so we've got Edinburgh, London. I'm in Devon. We've also got Tunis. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, Alem, and I hope I pronounced your name correctly. So that's not a Scottish accent. So what are you doing in Edinburgh?
Well, it's really funny because I was in the sauna this morning after my gym, and someone said, "Where are you from?" I went, "Oh, I'm from Edinburgh." They went, "No, you're not." I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm from England, but I've lived here for my whole adult life. I feel very Scottish." But yeah, I'm from down south, originally Leicester, and then Kent was where I went to school. And then since I went to uni in Edinburgh, I've stayed here ever since, occasionally moving abroad for short stints, but coming back to Edinburgh. Yeah. What about you? Where are you from?
I'm done in Devon. I'm not nowhere near. I've been to Leeds a few times.
Your name's Ashley Leeds.
Yeah, everyone thinks I'm a Yorkshire guy. I live in Devon. Always lived in the West Country.
Beautiful.
We're very lucky. We're very lucky. But so are you. Edinburgh's an amazing place. It's just a bit far for us to go. But yeah, I love Edinburgh. Yeah. So any excuse to get up there.
I think the most beautiful city in Europe, and I'm not even biased because I chose it. I wasn't born here. So I think it's the most beautiful city in Europe. I used to be a tour guide of it. So I'm so proud of my city. I wanted to go and tell everybody about it.
So next time I'm in Edinburgh,
yeah,
right,
honestly,
we're meeting up. I'm getting a private tour.
It's all ghosty, so it's all about like the brutal, gory plague stuff. So if you've got the stomach for it, I will happily show you around Edinburgh.
Brilliant.
Show you where people died around Edinburgh.
Lovely.
Yeah.
This is all storytelling. There's a theme here, isn't there, Karis?
There is. Yeah.
And another shout out to Mike, who's in a wild and windy Isle of Man. My goodness, we've got the whole world showing up today. Now, we had a little chat beforehand. I've got this little green room and we say hello before we get on. And I do this thing every week, Roast My Post. And it's to help people understand what's doing well with a post or what's not doing well with a post. And you've been off LinkedIn a little bit and you gave me this post and I've just had a quick read of it. And I normally do it at the end of the show, but we're going to do it at the beginning of the show because once we get to it, it will make sense. So are you ready for me to roast your post?
I'm so excited for this. Let's see what you've got.
Okay.
Roast my post, roast my post. Give me the comment ghost. Roast my post, roast my post. We're gonna roast my...
There we go.
Did you write that one too?
No, I didn't. No, artificial intelligence helped me with that one. But it's fun, isn't it? It's fun. Right. Okay. So this is the post. So we've got a lovely smiling Karis in pink. Is that your favorite color?
Yeah. My whole flat's pink.
I'm disappointed you're not wearing pink today.
Well, this has pink in it.
Okay.
Little bits of pink.
Okay. So I'm going to read this post out. I spend a lot of time on Rightmove looking at mansions with swimming pools, and I'm always poised to buy small 3-bedroom flats. So 2 years ago, after spending a fortune on renovations and seeing a property I liked, decided to get mine valued. Derek arrived at my flat to value it and try and sell his estate agency services in the process. Very pink, isn't it? He said. I know estate agents don't sound like that, but I'm putting a bit of story into it.
He was Scottish, if that helps.
All right. I'm really not going to try a Scottish accent in front of someone who's adoptively Scottish. He said, I'm glad you noticed. Yes, it is. And I love it. It's all going well so far. It's a tiny flat. So let's be real. It took him 2 minutes to walk around before we sat down. He asked us a few questions about our situation, told us the valuation. We thought it'd be at least 10 grand more. And he knew by our reaction that he may have to do a bit of persuading. He suddenly went into sales mode. The tone changed. And from him helping us to get this sale changed from helping to get this sale at any cost.
From helping us to getting this sale at any cost.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, all right. Then came the sentence that just icked me out entirely. What day next week shall I book you in for a photography that I can give you a good price? I can see why you wrote that. We're not ready for that step at we're beginning stages. It's the last day of spring. You want greenery to show through the windows and it will knock a lot of value off your property. I just stared at him. I knew what he was doing, trying to lock me in. It wasn't in our best interest to spend thousands on photography if we weren't going to sell. The trust was broken. So I politely sent him on his way and scratched that company off my list to work with. He may get through. He may have thought he was being clever getting us on the first rung, but he lost the client in the process. The best people don't feel like salespeople because their aim isn't to sell, but to help first. Kind, helpful, trustworthy people make some of the best salespeople I have ever met. Tip of the day, don't be like Derek. If you can't help, turn them away. And they'll come back when you can. What do you think is an underrated quality of a salesperson? This is a beautiful post. You got 32 likes, 10 comments. Absolutely superb. The only thing, and I always like to add a little bit of value, the only thing I would have done in this post is rather than you being outside by the railings outside your house, I would have done one next to one of the pink walls.
Oh, this is not my house. This is a very expensive one in London.
but that's what I would have done.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like and then sort of like, and then the pink would stop the scroll as well. Yeah, but this post is all about storytelling. And let's be fair, we don't really do that with when we're doing our LinkedIn posts, do we?
No, and
Why
as
not?
a result, we're not getting many leads and sales. I think for people, they see story as they misunderstand it. They see it as something personal that you might share around the pub with your friends, or that you might share on Facebook, but not something, if you want to come across as professional, that you would ever share on LinkedIn. So we've got to get our whole mindset around that it's unprofessional to share stories. In fact, we need to forget the word professionalism and think, what is it that you want to share that can really help your clients understand what you're trying to tell them to take them on that journey to get that sale? So it starts off with a really personal story, then the key business takeaway, and then the bridge in between them. So my bridge in between the story and the key takeaway, with my key takeaway being, don't be like Derek, you could be a good person and sell, is the fact that he lost that sale due to his ickiness and due to trying to force me in. And if you do that too, you're going to lose sales as well. So this post was all about being an authentic salesperson. But instead of me going on there and saying, you don't sell to people, do you know what I mean, by tricking them into the sale, don't do XYZ, don't do XYZ, instead we're not engaging people, we're not giving anything new out there, there's nothing they're learning, they're not going to remember it. We become these preachy gurus, and nobody likes a preachy guru, do they?
No. So what's the first step that we should be doing when we're writing a post that turns it into a story?
To start off with, we've got to be good at spotting stories, and it takes training your mind to do it. Because if I know how to do it at the moment, it's more, oh my God, I've got too many stories. Which ones do I pick and put towards my point? But most people at the start have the opposite problem of, I have no stories, absolutely none. In my whole 40 years of life, I don't have a single story that's possibly relevant to share. And it's all about first being good at spotting them. And really, do you know what I mean? There's many ways you could do that, but really something has to happen in the story. There has to be some point of conflict. So anytime you feel negative about anything in business, there's a story there potentially. And then we've got to start off by thinking, what is the key takeaway we want to share, and how can we match the story to the key takeaway that we're trying to illustrate? I find it personally easier to start with a story and fit it into the key takeaway. Others find it easier the other way around, to come up with the key takeaway and to find the story.
Okay, so my key takeaway for people is, if you need to be on LinkedIn and think about it as a networking event.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people sort of like think, I just need to do a post and spray and pray and that, and I get people to understand that if you behave on LinkedIn like you would at a networking event, then that's how you see LinkedIn. So today, you and I are doing this bit of content. People are watching, so they're getting stuff out of that. We've got comments coming in the post, so that's people, at a networking event. We're on the panel, we're doing a presentation. So for everybody's watching, people are commenting, so that's them asking us questions as we're going. Okay, and then we're just talking like normal people. That's what we do on LinkedIn. So that would be my story. How would I get that over as a post on LinkedIn?
There's so many different ways. To start off, you could take any situation or story from an actual networking event, or you can compare it to something that's happened on LinkedIn. You could take, for example, a conversation you had with someone and make it into stories. Someone who goes, I've got 3 kids, I can't go to any networking events, so it's impossible for me to have a business. And all about that conversation, like where you were when you had it, that you build a story around a moment in time. So something has to happen in a very specific moment in time. So that conversation could be the story. It could be comparing it to, do you know what I mean, club nights or something else, which is, do you know what I mean, happens in person versus online, and challenging the idea that we have to have things, do you know what I mean, only in person for them to work. So by comparing other things and others, but you'd come up with a very specific moment in time. So if, for example, with the Derek situation, if I just said a estate agent called Derek came round to value my flat, and he valued it lower than I thought he was going to. And to try and make sure that he would get the sale, he tried to book me in for the photography next week. And as a result, I felt cheated. That's how we tend to tell stories. but we're not in any moment in time. So it's not effective storytelling. It's more effective to use the storytelling principles with a less good story than it is to have a really good story and not use the storytelling principles. So because we were sitting in my flat, Derek was there, and I was like, so what's my flat worth? And he said less than I wanted to. I was like, oh. And he was like, look out the window, look at that big green bush. Yeah, that's going to go next week. Do you know what I mean? All the leaves are going to fall off. You need to book him right now. So we have it with dialogue in a very specific moment in time, and it makes it interesting. Then people draw in because the story stands on its own. It's something that you could actually share while having a conversation with somebody. And then they're more likely to absorb the core point that you're trying to get across, because they haven't just been preached at about the core point. So any little thing that reminds you of the fact that networking can happen on LinkedIn is really, do you know what I mean, could make a story.
Yeah, perfect. The story I tell, okay, is when I'm doing my presentation, I got slides, and it's me sandwiched in between two ladies. And I said, I met these two ladies at this networking event. We were chatting, but it took me an hour and 15 minutes to get there. I was there for 3 hours, and it took me an hour and 15 minutes to get back. So pretty much most of my day taken up talking to people. There was probably 30 people in the room. I probably had a chat with 10, 15 of them. How many more conversations could I have had if I'd have spent that amount of time on LinkedIn? That story?
Yeah, it's a story. We'd want a specific person that you were talking to and like a moment of realization. So you could say, like, I was speaking to Catherine, and she was the 10th person I spoke to. And I always try and get round to 12 people. That's my goal. But I realized Catherine was the 10th person that I spoke to. And actually, none of these people in this room were my ideal clients at all. Do you know what I mean? And so I just traveled for 3 hours. I was speaking to Catherine about her bunny called Hector. Do you know what I mean? And then, you know, say something specific and funny about her bunny called Hector. And it was really funny. But I realized, actually, I paid £4.50 for this train fare. And I want, do you know what I mean, to get some sort of business lead from it. And that's when I realized that, actually, although we think networking events in person are really effective, they're really good for building friends. They're really good for meeting lots of different people who, do you know what I mean, might be able to support your LinkedIn content. But if you want sales, you need to go direct to the people that you know you can help, which is why LinkedIn is so effective. Now, obviously, I've just made this all up on the spot, but it's using the storytelling principles of talking casually, like it's a voice in your head as well. So if we know your thoughts, I spent £4.50 on it. It's funny because £4.50 is nothing, and we all know it's nothing, but we all know that frustration of spending a tiny bit of money on something, do you know what I mean, which didn't manifest in what you expected. So
Sure.
there's, do you know what I mean, there's loads of different, do you know what I mean, ways. Do you know what I mean? You could start it off with, I was 10 minutes deep into a conversation about a giant bunny called Hector when I realised I've wasted £4.50 on my whole evening on something which had no chance of getting me any sales. Do you know what I mean? You know, there's different, you know, you pull things that remind you. You know, for me at networking events, someone told me it was a medical condition at some point. I don't remember people's names, faces, or anything. So I have the problem of going up and introducing myself to people. And we had a conversation last week. In fact, we had such a good conversation last week. We went to the pub after. Do you know what I mean? I can't remember. So it was really embarrassing. So I remember like tiny details about them. So I'll go the one with the orange earring with the blue dog on it. But then they come next time and they're not wearing those earrings. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like panic. So I could create this into a story of, do you know what I mean, the things that go through people's heads at networking events that you wouldn't have if it was online, because you know somebody's name and face because they're right there on LinkedIn. Whereas you're like, oh my gosh, was this the lady with the giant rabbit? I can't remember. Or was it the one who went to Paris? Do you know what I mean? And her ex broke up with her on the spot as soon as she arrived. I can't remember which one. So, do you know what I mean? You can have these funny things that happen at networking events that are really comical. It's if you were like a stand-up comedian, you're trying to pinpoint the things. You're like, but these wouldn't happen on LinkedIn, you know, to make, do you know what I mean, your points across. There's a lot you could do for storytelling on that one really niche topic.
All right. I got a toughie for you now.
Okay.
I know you're going to answer it. Mike has just asked, how do I create stories around something as mundane as website maintenance?
Okay. I'll have a shot at this one.
You can have a little think. And Mike, I know you don't sound like that. I was just doing it for dramatic effect.
So okay, this one. So I want you to imagine that you've just opened up an ice cream shop along the beach in the summer, and you've got all of these amazing flavors, and you have this big ribbon, you cut it open, and then people all stream into the shop, and everyone's all excited. They're taking photos and they're looking at the board. But over the course of the day, loads of people come in, they're taking lots of photos. Do you know what I mean? They're saying how much they like it, but you only sold 3 ice creams in the whole day. You'd be like, what? Do you know what I mean? Where on earth have I only sold 3 ice creams? Do you know what I mean? It's been open all day and there's been loads of people in. Well, that's what problem is happening to your website. You're having hundreds of people visit it every day, but you've only made 3 sales in the last month. Now, if this was an ice cream shop, you'd say there's a serious problem. We need to fix it. But because it's your website and because you made 3 sales, you think, oh, there must be just slow business. I need to focus on getting more leads. When actually the problem is your website speed is so incredibly low that only the 3 most dedicated people out of the 4,500 who visited that month are even bothered to wait for the loading page. And that's where I come in. I come into your website and I look at the 4,500 people. I'm like, how can we get them to buy from you? And after I've maintained your website, I've got back the loading speed, page loading speed. I think you'll find that 4,500 converting to 3, I think you actually will find it's more likely 130 customers a month you're probably missing out on that you've got already there.
Boom. Boom. That is absolute genius. Absolute genius. So you've been doing this for how many years?
Oh, good question. So I started my company 9 years ago, and I started growing my business using stories 7 years ago. I started teaching storytelling and how to pitch, how to use story in sales and marketing by accident at that point. Then the word spread about that I was really good at these various workshops, that it just kind of spread like wildfire, and it was all behind the scenes, mainly with universities. So I've been teaching it, do you know what I mean, for I'm going to say about 7 years, but without ever calling myself the storytelling person, because I was really focusing on my business and I was the owner of the social enterprise, do you know what I mean, and focusing on just that aspect. So it was happening behind the scenes for about, I'm going to say 6 or 7 years. And then took it a lot more seriously when I realized of everything I do in my business, this part was the most fun. You know, this is the part I enjoy the most. Is at heart, I'm a trainer. Like, that's what I love doing and what I'm really good at. So that's how I accidentally fell into being a storytelling trainer.
Brilliant. That's another great story. This is gold. This is absolute gold. And look at this real big problem now. I've just looked at the time. We're nearly done.
Oh gosh,
we're nearly done. And when you're doing a live show, you keep checking the clock, and you know you've got a few other things to say. So what I want to know is then, right? So your business is it just storytelling, or do you do what do you do? You said it was a social agency or something. What, you know, how did the business start? I want to know I want to know the story of your business.
Which one? The first business?
Yeah. What brought you here today? You know, how have you got here?
So my first one is a sustainable gift hamper company. So every product inside, such as teas, biscuits, crisps, chocolate, has a story of making the world a better place. So the soaps are designed and packaged by people with disabilities, for example, and the teas go to fund schools over in India for girls, because girls don't get education prioritized in these rural communities in the same way as the sons do. So every product has that story. And I was imagining that in the future I'd be in Tesco with my shopping trolley and I'd be getting my olive oil and getting my chocolate, and everything that we buy will have a social impact in some way. And I thought, how do I tell people these products exist? Do you know what I mean? They're amazing, they're beautiful, they're good quality. Do you know what I mean? Everything that you would want. Well, through a gift, right? Because if you know what social enterprise is, but your mate doesn't, you can gift them a beautiful gift hamper that will just be the most exciting gift that they could ever receive. Well, I definitely thought it was the best gift in the world when I came up with the idea. So that's the first one. And the second one is I go into companies and train them on how to use story as part of their sales, as well as coming up with their story. And I look at founders and I go, first, you need your founder story. That's the story that you go to do networking events online or in person, and it gets you lots of leads because it positions you as the expert, but also is very relatable. And then when you go on to sales calls, it's how do you close 85% of sales calls, which is what we've done, using story and guiding someone on that journey to how do you know what I mean, the whole process of how do you get in leads using story. So the whole process. So I teach that to founders in a training community that I run. And I also do one-to-one, helping people do workshops which help them use their story on stage to get in a lot of leads. So I could do one workshop or talk, and I can get in like 20 different people in my inbox wanting to work with me at the end of it, because I've perfectly designed it to take them on that journey using fun stories. So I start off with a story that sounds like I'm drug dealing in Magaluf. Do you know what I mean? As an example of, do you know what I mean? Using stories which are fun and personal, but perfectly illustrate the business point throughout the whole, do you know what I mean, workshop. So story can be used throughout the whole of business. And to be honest, there's a lot more I've done with it as well, but that's what I'm focusing on, because of that's where I found I can really make an impact for people.
No, fantastic. And how do people get to work with you, Karis?
LinkedIn, Karis Gill. Karis with a K is Paris with a K is how you spell my name, Karis Gill. Reach out to me on LinkedIn, and we can get chatting about your stories, because it's my favorite thing in the world is to help someone realize that they have the most amazing story that's actually going to make a difference in their business. It's not about making you feel good. Do you know what I mean? People sometimes do it for confidence, but it's about how do you then use that story to get in leads. Because if you go to a networking event, you probably remember like one person from that networking event. And who do you remember? That person who spoke about their big hairy rabbit called Hector, who keeps eating all their wires. That's the one that you do remember. But then if you have someone who tells a story that's equally as interesting, but it's actually all about you really, and it guides you on that journey of how you can help them, you're going to be the one that they remember at the end of the day, and they're going to follow your content. They're going to keep remembering you. At any one point, only 3% of people are poised to buy, but the other 97%, do you know what I mean, need that nurturing. And that's why you keep needing to share stories to stay on the top of mind.
Fantastic. And what's one thing that people can do after watching or listening to this show today to improve their storytelling?
Okay, my one thing I recommend that you do is you need to paint a picture in people's head, and it's a moving picture. And the way you do this is incorporating dialogue. So if you tell your story, and if I said, Derek turned to me and said, do you know what I mean? You need to get the photographer immediately. It's very different if I do it in the form of dialogue and quotation, and I'm playing a movie of Derek's talking to me, compared to, oh yeah, Derek informed us that we need to get in the photographer next week. It just doesn't hit in the same way. So definitely have that one specific moment in time and incorporate dialogue. The second one, if I can have a cheeky second, is emotion. We are emotional human beings who feel something. We need to feel not one emotion story, but at least two. You need to take us from one strong emotion to another, and you increase the interest of the story by increasing the emotion of the main character. So if it's you and you disproportionately care about something that's so mundane, we instantly are far more interested that your tea is cold, even if it's so mundane like that, your tea is cold, than if, do you know what I mean, you don't care about your tea is cold, we're not going to care. So one negative emotion to one positive emotion, one positive to one negative, whatever it may be, we need two really contrasting emotions, and for you to really feel those emotions in the story.
Brilliant. This was a masterclass in storytelling. Karis Gill, you've been absolutely brilliant. And before I say goodbye, I'm just going to give a quick shout out to our guest next week, who is the lovely Karen King. Now, she has founded a company called Escapepreneur, and she is helping people escape from being entrepreneurs and have the life that they want. So I'm really looking forward to speaking to her. And the last time I spoke to her, she was in Mexico. She's somewhere else now, and I don't know where she is. So that's the story loop there. Do you like what I did there?
Fantastic. I've also never heard about escaping entrepreneurship, because it's always the other way around. Like, escape the corporate life and become an entrepreneur, live on a beach. Do you know what I mean? Get screwed in your laptop.
But you know, running your own business, you're doing lots and lots of things. And so what she's trying to do is to get us to just focus on the things that really count. So yeah, perfect. Karis, you have been an absolute superstar today. I thoroughly enjoyed having this chat with you today. Thank you so much for sharing everything.
Thank you so much for having me. This is brilliant. Thank you.
No, absolutely. And thank you to everybody for jumping on and asking questions and having a little chat with us. And we will be back next week, like I say, with the lovely Karen. And yeah, thanks very much indeed. And we will see you soon. Cheerio now. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching or listening to my show this week. I want to bring to you people that can help us running our business. I love having a chat. I'm very nosy, very curious, and I'd love to ask questions. So if you want to be a guest, or if you've got some ideas for guests, let me know. And if you want me to help you with your LinkedIn, get in touch, because I want to give you a voice. Now, that could just be using LinkedIn, but I do other things as well. So I can help you with a podcast, a live show, and all kinds of other amazing things. So get in touch. My name's Ashley Leeds. I'm the 15-minute guy, and you can find me on LinkedIn.